All right. Hello, everybody. It's Thursday night. It's just after 7, a few minutes behind here, and I do apologize in advance. It is sweltering in my apartment because I just walked in the door, and of course, I don't have any standard AC units, so I just turned it on for a couple of minutes to give myself a little bit of a break. But if you see me breaking out in a sweat, that's why. It's not because I'm nervous. It's really because I am super hot. So I'd love to welcome you guys to episode number 2 of our live health show. Still yet to be named. More on that in a moment. And I wanted to just let you know, today what I'm going to be diving into is, I think, a super important topic. One that I get questioned on all the time. I'm actually going to start a series on the 4 biggest mistakes I see people make when they are trying to make changes to their health. And these are really I think the biggest barriers that we see in practice when we're working with people to make changes to their health, and they consistently trip people up. And it's quite frustrating to sit on the other side and see these consistent mistakes being made. And so I thought, why not turn it into a bit of a mini series here, so that over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be diving into these 4 barriers. I'm going to cover the top 2 today, so you get you get a bonus today. Actually, I'm going to give you some exercises. In fact, today there'll be one key exercise, so an action step to do, and that's really so that you can avoid making these mistakes yourself. Okay, so if you're really keen on making a change to your health, if you want to really improve your health in some way over the summer, then this series is for you. Okay, so I think this is based on our experience, right? The doctors at the Wellness Group, we've been actually helping people, been around for over a decade, helped literally thousands of people and thousands of families, in fact, by now. And really, our goal is to help transform their health. And this is really all of these 4 mistakes is what we see happen over and over again. Fortunately, when people work with us directly, often we can help them overcome these. And so we'll dive into that in a moment. But I wanted to just give you guys a bit of a rundown. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. John McPhee. I'm a chiropractor in Canada, and I'm co-owner of a practice called the Wellness Group, where myself and my colleagues, Dr. Mike, Dr. Steph, and Dr. Dave, we work tirelessly to help improve the lives of our community. And I think like all the doctors, and any of you who have any opportunity to interact with us, you know that we're super passionate about health. And that's really this show. The intention behind the show is really just an extension of that passion, something that I love to do. I love sharing information about health. And so over the course of these episodes, every Thursday night at around 7 o'clock, a little bit late today, you can join me live. I'm going to make them really short, and my goal is to make them super informative so that you can gain easy tips, strategies to help improve your health in some way. We'll be covering a bunch of different topics today, and actually over the next few weeks, we're going to be diving into more I think I would categorize these as some more thought or thinking exercises, action steps. But of course, we're going to get into some nutrition, some movement and exercise topics. So lots to cover. And one thing that we're actually working on is trying to come up with a name for the show. So as you, perhaps if you're watching today, and if you can give us some ideas of some names for the show, I'd love that. It really help us out. We're struggling, we're kind of drawing a blank. And so we want to make sure that it's a name that is reflective of the content and the quality. So I think just before I dive into the topic, I'd just like to, if anyone is, those of you who are watching live, you can just, if you can hear me, if you can see me okay. Again, we've had some technical difficulties over the course of the last few weeks. So just hit the like button. That'll give me some feedback that, yes, okay, we're actually, you're hearing me loud and clear, and I'm not super blurry, maybe a little bit sweaty, but that's it. Really, I want you to, lots of feedback. So if you can give me a comment, yes, you're enjoying the topics, or perhaps maybe you're a little bit bored, so let me know about that too. I always want to make sure that I'm making these interesting, useful, and of course, we want to make sure that that's logical so that you actually understand the whole the purpose behind the topics. So I'm going to make sure that I stick to those rules today. And as I mentioned, so today, really what we're diving into is these 4 major mistakes that we see people make when they are attempting to make changes to their health. And this all starts from I think a premise that I live by and life by, and it's a deep premise that actually reinforces everything that we do at the practice, and that's that I understand that as a human being, you are designed to be extraordinary. In fact, you're designed to be healthy, right? That's your default state. And so if you're struggling with some sort of health problem, then it stands to reason that there's some issue that's driving that problem. There's a underlying I would consider like a primary problem that's leading to maybe a whole host of secondary problems that you're experiencing. And so, I think we're all really designed to be this, to have this abundant health, to live long, healthy, happy, productive lives. So if we're falling off track of that, then it stands to reason we need to figure out why. Okay. Now, as a society, I think, there's obviously a disconnect somewhere, because even though, we're designed to be healthy, but now it seems like we're getting sicker and sicker, which is a real unfortunate thing to watch. And so from my perspective, that there's a huge disconnect there, because if we're just, I believe that, okay, we're designed to be healthy, we're not, so what's the rub? Why is there this big disconnect? There's a huge, discrepancy in the sense that we're spending more and more money, resources on approaching health and actually, trying to deal with all these chronic illnesses like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and despite all of that expense, all of that investment, we're really not seeing the return, in my opinion. So, when it comes right down to it, I think these mistakes are really at the core of this big problem. And so I'm going to dive into the first two today, and I think you'll probably be able to relate to these. You may not have ever thought about this in this context, so that's why I really want to make sure that you get some unique value out of this. And the first, I think the first problem, the biggest issue, is that when people sit down and say, like, yes, I want to make a change to my health, they're not actually entirely certain about what they want. And so I would characterize the first mistake or the first problem as being not lacking a vision, like a true vision for what you want your health to be. And so it's a question that I often ask my practice members, my clients in practice, is that, how would you define 100% health? What does health actually look like to you? That's a really crucial question to be able to answer. For most people, it draws blanks. We may get a few answers, maybe get one or two-liners. Really, we should be able to talk at length about our health and how we see what true health or 100% health looks like. So that's actually what I want you to start with in this exercise, is to build out your health vision. Okay, what is your vision for your health in the short term and in the long term? So I'm going to actually go through an exercise with you right now. I'm going to grab my own journal here, and what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to grab just a sheet of paper or a block of paper, better off even in a journal or some sort of book, and I'm going to get you to take a blank page. I'm going to draw a line down the middle. Okay, you can see that I've done that, and then you're going to write on the right hand side. You're going to write what. Okay, on the left hand side you're going to write why. I'm going to come back to those. You probably can't read my writing. If you were to ask my staff, it's Lynn, Nicole, and Carolyn, they really struggle at reading my writing, and they've been working with me for years. So fortunately, I have not written anything else here. But we're going to focus on is this column here on the right side, so the what column. And this is really about building out your vision. So the question is, what do you want when it comes to your health? So what is your vision for your health? And I want you to just start writing things down. Not now. I want you to set aside time over the next week. 15 minutes a day would be plenty for this exercise. Okay. So you're just going to start writing down what you want. Now, if I was doing this live, which I often do in our Think by Design seminar, most times people start to write down things they don't want, and that's pretty normal. That's actually, as an example, it might be, I want to stop taking all my medication, or I want to lose X amount of pounds, or I want. It's framed in a negative sense, something that they don't want. That's fine. That's actually how society has actually conditioned us to be to think, right? Is to kind of consider things in the negative, the things that we want to move away from. What I'm going to encourage you to do is, you can write all those things down, that's fine, but if you write something down that's in the negative, like, let's say it is I want to get off all medication, I want you to reframe that in a positive sense, okay? So that might be that, you want to live a life, free of all medication, something like that. So I do have some examples written down here that I probably give you a better idea. So the idea is to simply work through, get lots of stuff written down in the what column, and I want you to really spend some time. I want you to exhaust all of the things that you want. Like if you were to just remove all the kind of context of reality right now, like what's going on with your life right now, and you were to just think about, in like dream world, what would your health look like? That's the kind of state I want you to be in. So there's no limitations to this list right now, okay? So that's the first step. That's creating your health vision, okay? You should be able to write pages and pages. So take as much time as you need. The next step, and this is actually equally as important, and this would be the second most common mistake I see, is that sometimes people will have a clear idea of what they want, but they're not really clear on why. And this was what we would call your purpose. So what is your purpose when it comes to creating the health of your dreams, creating this health vision of yours? And so that's what the second column is the why. So here, what I want you to do is, as you write stuff out, you may populate a bunch of stuff in the what column, and then what I want you to do is actually start to write out, like, why is that important to you? So let's use the example of, let's say you want to have healthy body composition, so a healthy body weight. And you can define that in terms of what is reasonable for you, but that isn't enough. What you need to know is, like, why is that important to you? And so for some people that initially might be, so that I can look good and feel better about myself. That's fine, but perhaps there's some other deeper reasons why that's important to you. And so in the why column, this is where we really want to dig deep and actually get to the most emotional roots. Ultimately, the more emotional your why is, the more kind of the more it's going to drive you to stick to your plan, okay, which is going to come next. So as you're working through, you're coming up with your health vision, these will happen in tandem. You're going to actually generate a list of all the reasons why that's so important for you. Think long term. This might things. My age group, it might be thinking about, okay, well, when I'm 100, I want to be able to play with my great grandkids. Okay, I want to be able to go hiking for an afternoon with my great grandkids, or I want to, or perhaps it's just an age goal. Like my personal goal, I want to live to 123. Okay, I figured out that's the number based on my, I think what's realistic, and also what would allow me to satisfy all the goals in life that I have. And so, lots of reasons why you may want to do something. So just make sure that you keep track of all that. Write it all down. And again, there's no limitation. So I want you to make sure that you exhaust all ideas. If you take 15 minutes every day, let's say it's 15 minutes every morning, you wake up and you just spend time generating your health vision and generating your purpose, or your health, the why behind that vision, you're going to end up, after 1 week, you're going to be so much more motivated to stick to whatever the plan is that we're going to create over the next couple of sessions. Okay, so just to summarize, two biggest mistakes I see: people not having a clear vision of what they want when it comes to their health, and secondly is even if they do have that, the motivation, the purpose behind it is really lacking. And so anytime any distractions come up, or push comes to shove, if things get hard, people fall off track. Okay, so some signals that you may be suffering from these challenges are that perhaps you're on the hamster wheel of strategies. So you may be trying lots of tactics to improve your health, but not necessarily following any sort of pattern, and it's easy to get off track. Those would be the two biggest indicators. So if you're suffering from those, this is a great exercise for you. And I think this is one of the most important exercises to apply to anything when it comes to life. So you can apply this exercise to things beyond health, but today we're just focusing in on health. So thank you so much for those of you who have joined in. I really appreciate the live viewers. For those of you watching on the replay, please just give lots of feedback. I always want to make these better. So if you have any questions or comments, feedback, please just populate it below. Leave lots of comments. I'll make sure to get answer those as soon as I can. And so we'll come back next week. We'll dive into the third most common barrier, the third biggest mistake I see people make when it comes to changing their health. So that'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. next week. Thanks, guys. See you next week.